First, let me say Happy New Year. We will remember 2020 for its challenges, but the calendar's symbolic transition allows us a renewed sense of hope and opportunity. As the president of the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, it is my duty to abide by our mission and advocate on behalf of Hispanic-owned businesses, especially in cases when we consider that public investments do not equitably benefit the businesses our chamber represents. I will begin by reminding everybody of the significant efforts and investment put forth to ensure all residents in our city and state took part in the Census 2020. The Colorado Hispanic Chamber of Commerce and many other partners put a tremendous effort into it for important economic reasons. Although an accurate count is the right thing to do and is helpful in many ways, it offers our city and state federal dollars for infrastructure. The allocation of federal dollars hinges on population and demographics. The 2021 census data will be released supporting and accelerating the population projection that currently estimates our U.S. population to be over 40% minority. Here's a quote from Forbes magazine. "This is the year when the majority of all Americans under 17 years old will be from a minority background, a process that will culminate with a so-called minority-majority population by the mid-2040s. These demographic changes will bring about a significant transformation. As the country's minority population is growing faster than non-Hispanic white population and moving towards a minority-majority society, the impact of these demographic trends on our small business landscape is significant. However, our society needs to better understand the barriers and opportunities surrounding minority, small business owners to fully unlock the segment's economic power. As the country faces economic recovery and job creation for years to come, it is important to understand how minority-owned small businesses can play a role in this process, and most importantly, what policies the federal and local government can enact and what strategies the private sector can implement that has the potential to unlock the full potential of this group. This article was published in August of this year as part of a series. Over the past few decades, Hispanics have increasingly played a more significant role in the U.S. and Colorado's economy. Colorado is the 8th most populated Hispanic state in the U.S. and home to over 100,000 Hispanic-owned businesses. In Colorado, 1 in 5 residents is Hispanic. In Denver, over 1 in 3 residents is Hispanic. And this number will continue to rise as close to 60% of the children enrolled in Denver public schools are Hispanic. Hispanic-owned businesses are growing at a rate of 3 times the national average, so it is evident that a critical part of Colorado's economic prosperity relies on the strength of Hispanic consumers, Hispanic workers, Hispanic small business owners, and Hispanic voters. We believe that local public investment should represent the interests of our local taxpayers and the local community. With Hispanics representing more than 30% of taxpayers in the community and over 75% of the minority population in the city and county of Denver, we ask our governing authorities to unlock opportunities so that minorities can participate in city processes in a manner that proportionally represents our taxpayer and community demographics. I hope we all can agree that this is a fair and equitable distribution of public funds. As a representative of Hispanic-owned businesses, it is the Hispanic Chamber's role to advocate and bring awareness when public investments don't equitably benefit the businesses our chamber represents. Unfortunately, such is the case of the $183 million Denver International Airport janitorial contract in consideration for your approval. On paper, it appears that we should be celebrating the fact that over 41% of the contract is going to minority businesses. But when we look below the surface, we see that out of the $180 million investment, 38% of this substantial contract is going to only one local minority firm. That's $70 million to one business. Meanwhile, only 3% of the contract was assigned to an Hispanic-owned company, despite Hispanics representing more than 30% of the Denver population and 75% of Denver's minority population. We don't believe this has to be a zero-sum game. We can all win so long as we create real, equitable economic opportunity by addressing some of the flaws in the process and providing more specific language around the City of Denver's guidance. For instance, we need to allow more significant contracts broken up into smaller pieces. This would open the door for many minority-owned businesses and provide a better representation of the community. A single winner-take-all contracting process will inevitably create conflict between different minority communities. This process makes it impossible to implement the diversity of representation per the spirit of the DSBO.